great entitlement. You're a tax. This is the most fiscally reasonable sort of tax bracket that they can give you, and the middle class more than deserves it. You know why? Because the middle class has been caught in the wave of demonetization and GST, and they realize the farmers are never going to vote for them again.
Quick responses now.
So go after
quick responses to that. We need going off the BJP and SK Datta.
Possibly come out and vote for
I was
the BJP,
listening
and
to
this is the middle class.
I guess the revised GDP growth rate numbers is not revised on the basis of the new methodology bank by International Monetary Fund and by the Asian Development Bank. The Asian Development Bank, International Monetary Fund and the IMF have also predicted around 7.5 to 7.6 growth rate for India. So if I look into the parameters done by those international agencies with the used and the methodology used by the government of India, there is a synchronization of that, which means there is a connectivity. Therefore, it tells the real growth story. That's the first thing. The second thing is in relation to the unorganized sector, there are around 10 crore people who are there in the unorganized sector, and it is not that they will be getting the benefits after 20 years down the line. The fact that they have been brought into the organized sector means they will be enjoying gratuity, they will be enjoying provident funds, they would be getting pensions, then they would be getting the medical allowances, which was never there. Why is it that it has taken 60 years for
Union Minister Piyush Goyal speaking live. And stay with me, I want to cut across live. Union Minister Piyush Goyal.
Farming families getting 6,000 rupees a month is a never before, a year is a never before scheme. Over the next 10 years, we'll be giving 60,000 crore rupees to every family.
How is it not a dole, sir? I mean, if it is, isn't it? If you're giving...
Because we are not linked it to any land holding, we have not linked it to any other parameters. This is something that is being given back to them for the work that they've done, as a respect for the work that they are doing. And please look at the past. Never before has anybody bothered about the farmers as much as Prime Minister Modi. After all, if people were concerned, why did they not announce MSP for all the 22 crops? Why is it that what we procure in 1 year procured by the Congress in 5 years of their government? Why is it that they never bothered about health care for the farmers, which we have bothered through Ayushman Bharat? Why is it that they did not provide electricity to the remotest corners of the country and ensured every home, every child gets electricity 65 years after independence? Now, all of these are questions people are asking of the Congress. And they appreciate that Prime Minister Modi has consistently, year after year, ensured that they keep getting more and more benefit. This is a series of benefits. There's one more huge step. And look at the juxtaposition. 75,000 crores given in 1 year, but sustainable, not one time. So for the next 10 years, you'll be giving 7.5 lakh crores to rural India. What did the Congress do that the 10 years that they were in power? Neither did they give MSP, neither did they buy the material at MSP, whatever they, neither did they do any scheme other than a loan waiver, which was announced in 2008 without any budgetary provision. 2009 also there was no budgetary provision. Left to the next government to repay after 2009. All of 52,000 crores given to a select group of farmers. The CAG reports speak for themselves. They're full of holes, full of irregularities. Wrong people were given the farm loan waiver. Possibly political interference came in play. And we saw the UPA except making noise. The Congress except making tall promises. Never.
But these kind of questions to the Congress party would have been asked in 2014. You've had 5 budgets and every budget is supposed to have been an agri budget. It's supposed to have been a budget. Garibon ka budget. We kept hearing this. Kisan ka budget. All your agriculture ministers, Prime Minister, everybody said it's agriculture. Then why is it that when it is just an interim budget you have brought about this? So how is it not a solve?
I think you're missing the point. Over 4 years, every budget, we've added value to the farmer's income, added value to his life. Be it the fact that we gave over 15 crore, 17 crore farmers soil health cards. Be it the fact that now healthcare is most of these small farming families. Be it the fact that we have ensured energy security so they get electricity on time. Be it and quantity. Be it the fact that we brought neem coated urea so that people could not divert fertilizer and use it in chemical factories and the farmer remains without fertilizer. Have you ever heard of a single agitation asking for fertilizer in the last 5 years?
But we've had farmer suicides, sir.
Well,
so, you know,
this is
not as if agri-distress has not been there. You yourself...
Nobody has ever claimed that.
Yeah.
But the issue is that what we have reached to the farmers has helped them increase their productivity, helped them increase production. That in fact has had a little bit of a cause and effect on the prices of agricultural produce. Having said that, the fact that we are encouraging them to do 3 crops in a year, so that this will be given in 3 installments of 2,000 each, encouraging them at the time of harvest to be able to add value to what they are producing. Along with that, look at the huge thrust given to food processing. Look at the huge thrust given to educating the farmers on what crops can be done. Look at the vision I laid out, the Prime Minister's vision today, to encourage organic farming, to encourage value addition on farming, to encourage make sure everybody gets water, irrigation.
The irrigation is a major thing. There are many farmers who today, after listening to your budget, when all the channels, went to farmers and said, are you satisfied with what has been offered? He said, किसान जो है वो मांगेगा क्यों, वो पैसे क्यों मांगेगा, कम से कम irrigation तो कहते हैं पानी तो ला दो हमारे खेतों में. मतलब if you as power minister could elect those villages, why can you not promise to irrigate every farm in this country?
I think you missed out on my vision, which I had laid out, the different dimensions. Important dimensions was that we want to take irrigation through the micro irrigation route and through organic farming, which takes much less to the country as a whole, and that's going to be one of the priority areas of this.
So that was Interim Finance Minister Piyush Goyal there speaking, outlining, of course, some of the rationale on the basis of which the government took those decisions today in the interim budget of 2019. We will continue to examine the budget and analyze it with our special panel, political representatives and newsmakers. Lots more voices joining us on the other side of this very short break. Stay with NewsX. Best coverage on Budget 2019 back in just a few moments.
Each wave brings a new challenge, but not strong enough to throw us off balance. There are days we guide our fishermen and days we guard our countrymen. Some days we float above the sea and other days we fly over it. If you like to take on challenges, then you'll love what we have in store for you. Join the Indian Coast Guard. Face a different challenge every day.
फोन मिला और मुस्कुरा, फोन मिला और मुस्कुरा, कुछ अपनी सुन, कुछ अपनी सुना, स्माइल को अपनी पहचान बना, BSNL संग मुस्कुरा, फोन मिला और मुस्कुरा, फोन मिला और मुस्कुरा.
तेरा नूर है सबसे बड़ा,
तेरा नूर है सबसे बड़ा.
Over 60,000 people are enjoying the big move. Join them today. Honda Amaze, the big move.
मैच खत्म.
नहीं, मेरा डेटा प्लान खत्म.
GPS बंद हो गया, लगता है नेटवर्क गया.
मेरा भी नेटवर्क गायब
टीना,
है. इसका तो फोन ही डब्बा है.
अब
कहीं चलकर रास्ता पूछ लेते हैं.
कमाल दा मतलब मारता है. भाई साहब, मेरे प्रीतो का फोन है. हाँ, टाइम ना ला जावांगा. भाई वाह, आपके फोन में कौन सा नेटवर्क है? BSNL और की.
BSNL दे क्रिस्टल क्लीन वॉइस हाई स्पीड डेटा. BSNL पूर्ण स्वदेशी नेटवर्क.
The 10-year challenge did take the internet by storm, but one car which actually fell into this challenge is the WagonR. Mercedes introduces the versatile V-Class here in India today. Samsung introduces the M series in India. We get our hands on the M20 and the M10. Owner introduced V20, and well, here I have the phone with myself.
individual taxpayers having taxable annual income of 5 lakhs will get full tax rebate.
Income up to 5 lakh rupees per annum is tax-free now, and in case your salary is up to 6.5 lakh rupees per year, specific investments will keep you out of the taxman's reach. The provision to kick in from the next financial
लाभ 12 करोड़ से ज्यादा उन किसानों को मिलेगा 5 एकड़ से या 5 एकड़ से कम भूमि है.
In what's being seen as a master stroke, the government puts cash transfer loan waiver for farmers. 6,000 rupees per year for each farmer in 3 installments announced. Money to be transferred directly to farmers. 12 crore farmers' families to benefit from this Kisan scheme.
जो सामाजिक और आर्थिक विकास के प्रभावी कदम उठाए हैं, ऐतिहासिक कदम उठाए हैं, जो किसानों को लाभ पहुंचाती है, जो अनऑर्गेनाइज्ड सेक्टर के लेबर को लाभ पहुंचाती है.
Assured monthly pension of 3,000 rupees for workers in unorganized sector after 60 years of age. The move likely to benefit household helps, drivers, plumbers and other workers earning less than the threshold salary.
इस वर्ष पहली बार हमारा डिफेंस बजट 3 लाख करोड़ से बढ़ के 2019-20 में प्रावधान किया गया है.
Defense budget allocation crosses 3 lakh crore mark for the first time. The allocation ensures modernization of the defense mechanism in the country.
वो बजट विकास को बढ़ावा देने वाला बजट है.
A very comprehensive budget which ignites hope in the eyes of ordinary India.
The Bharatiya Janata Party hails the pro-middle class budget, says it paves the way for a new India.
There's a lot of fantasy language, castles being constructed in the air, and very little actually happening.
They have announced a scheme for farmers. That means they have not done anything for the farmers.
The opposition, though, still seems unhappy, says the budget promises won't be fulfilled and the promises are just castles in the air. Good evening, I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're watching NewsX's special broadcast on the budget 2019. Piyush Goyal has brought cheers to the middle class in the interim budget, the last budget of the NDA government. The salaried class in the vast swaths of India with moderate salaries has got major relief in the form of income tax break. The budget proposed income tax exemption for taxpayers with a 5 lakh rupee annual income. The move will result in 12,500 rupees savings per annum for the salaried class. Remember, doubling the threshold exemption limit will be costing 18,500 crore rupees. Additionally, the standard deduction has also been increased to 50,000 rupees from the existing 40,000 rupees in what relief for the salaried class, the middle class. And let's open this up to our special panel joining us. Will this budget help bring in the votes in an election year? Will this budget give relief to the Aam Aadmi, the middle class specifically? And has the budget covered all areas of society effectively? Joining us today is a very special panel. We'll also be opening it out to you, the viewer, so you can also air your thoughts and opinions on this big story. You can call us, our numbers flashing there on your screens. Tell us what you feel. We are taking your calls as well live on the broadcast. Joining us this evening is Chairman and Editor-in-Chief of Business World, Anurag Batra, Dinesh Varshne, CPI spokesperson also joining us, Vineet Goenka, leader of the BJP with us live. And before I introduce the rest of our panel, we'll also be having several newsmakers with us in just a bit. Let me bring in Managing Editor Rishabh Gulati for further details on the big budget 2019.
Okay, you know, we're further details. The one biggest detail is actually trying to figure out what this entire tax game is about. So now let's put into perspective for our viewers. The first caveat, of course, is that this is applicable from the next year, right? So you're not going to get tax relief this year. So if you're thinking, oh, yay, I just saved a few thousand rupees this year, ain't happening. The second is, it's a tax rebate, not a tax slab change. So if you're earning more than 5 lakh rupees, it's very unlikely that you'll get. That's 5 lakh rupees net taxable income. You don't qualify for this 12,500 rupees you save. So if you're earning 10, 15 lakh rupees, it's not good use. The maximum possible saving, if you are in the highest tax bracket, which means you're paying up to 30%, you can save up to 3,000 rupees. This is because your SD, standard deduction, has gone up from 40 to 50 grand. So that's the maximum tax saving. That's applicable to everyone. If you're earning less than 5 lakh rupees net taxable income, you're saving about 12,500 rupees now. So that's some money to save over there. But that's only if your net taxable income is less than 5 lakh rupees. Now, the 50% of the total tax returns filed in this country earn less than 5 lakh rupees net taxable income. So there are about 6.5 crore tax returns that were filed last year, of which 3 crores the finance minister says will get benefit of this. So let's break this up into what we are calling the super max number. Now the super max number is the maximum you can possibly be earning, then claim all the deductions possible so that your net taxable incomes comes to the 5 lakh rupee mark. So you cut SD 50,000 rupees. You put all the maximum money in life insurance ULIPs that you can, 1.5 lakh rupees. Health insurance 25,000. If you getting the subvention on home loan interest, incidentally you've taken a home loan for repair as well, and you happen to be a first time buyer, and you have maybe 5 lakh plus in a postal deposit, of which the 10,000 rupees interest you can claim as a tax deduction. If you have all of this and your income is 10 lakh 15,000 rupees, thereby your net taxable income comes down to 5 lakhs, so you won't be paying any tax. That's the good news now, if it's possible. Now here is the super max budget. As we are pointing out, you then pay up 0 tax and you save 12,500 in that tax rebate. Now let's convert this into an everyman sort of Aam Aadmi scenario. Everybody is not earning 10 lakh exactly and is capable of all those deductions. So if your salary is 6 lakh rupees, SD is now 50,000, and you claim, let's say, deductions worth 50,000, then your salary is 5 lakhs, you save the 12,500 rebate, tax, pay 0 tax. But if your salary is 6.5 lakhs, or your taxable income is 6.5, or the income you're making 6.5 lakhs, you take as SD, 50,000 you're doing a various bunch of deductions together, and your net taxable income comes just over 5 lakh. Let's say, for example, 5 lakh 50,000. Now what's happening here is, earlier you were paying 24.5 grand in tax. That comes down to a net tax now of 22,500. You're saving about 1,000 rupees. That's mostly coming from the standard deduction. So this is the real savings for the people who are not in that 3 crore people who are paying or claim an income of less than 5 lakhs a year. We're trying to break this up. We'll keep coming back and, of course, take as many questions as possible Uday, to help answer people who are wondering whether they're getting a bonanza or not.
Rishabh, thanks for breaking that down for us, of course. So, Rishabh, there, of course, breaking down the tax slabs, all the components, of course, to show you what kind of relief you're not, depending on what your income is, what your salary is. And remember, we'll, of course, have experts also answer your questions and keep breaking it down for you through those, help you better understand what's in it for you in this budget of 2019. But let me quickly bring you in here, Anurag Batra. What is your first reaction to the budget of 2019? Has it met your expectations? What is your reading of it?
See, the budget is very much on expected lines. We were expecting election budget, a populist budget. This is what it is. That's what the Congress party will say. That's what people who like the current dispensation will say. But to some extent, the markets are saying that. Let me also say that this budget in some way counters what Rahul Gandhi has said over the last 3 months. If you look at farmers have been looked after with 6 over a year to be deposited into their accounts in 3 installments. You look at middle class, the middle class has been given a big tax break of 2.5 lakhs, and that needs to be kind of fully looked at and its impact. Third is you look at the, again, Rahul Gandhi on 29th Jan talked about basic minimum income, and the finance minister and the government and the prime minister have come up with a Pradhan Mantri Yojana, which gives, people who retire post 60 in the unorganized sector a certain basic income. Then you look at the two other criticisms that Rahul Gandhi had. What about the failure of demonetization and then the failure of GST? Piyush Goyal's address talked about the fact that actually the GST collections have gone up.
But
and also in terms of demonetization, when he talked to GST, he talked about how the consumers have saved and how much have the consumers saved. So in some way, this is purely a very political budget, and you can say every budget is a political budget.
So it's quite a political budget. It's a please-all budget, is what you're saying.
But the only comment I want to say from markets is that nobody knows what will happen in elections. But whichever government is there will carry through, even if there is a change, because nobody would like to look anti-poor.
I will just get you in, Mr. Batra, I'll just get you in, of course, on what's in it for the middle class as well, on this tax rebate and our other voices as well. But I want to quickly go across at this point live to Pramod Bhasin, founder of Gen. He's joining us live in the broadcast as well. Mr. Bhasin, appreciate you speaking with NewsX. Your first reading of the budget 2019, sir, coming in an election year. It was an interim budget. Has it met your expectations? What's your reading of it?
Well, I think the budget is along expected lines. I thought it would have a lot of headlines to... It's an election year budget, firstly. I am disappointed in it. I will say that right up front. I think it's an election year budget. It produces a lot of headlines. It gives a lot of sops to lots of people. But it doesn't address simple issues like the fiscal deficit. Where are we going to get this money from? It doesn't address why investments haven't increased in this country, which is desperately needed for jobs. It doesn't address how we're going to get more jobs. So I think, I can understand why a political party will come out with a budget like this in an election year, and I think both parties will do it. I'm not talking about this party doing this, and they'll all blame each other. So I think that, frankly, is noise in the system, and we should ignore it. I am sad, though, because we have a huge issue of investment and jobs, and I do wish we could have talked more about that. We have huge issues around healthcare. We have huge issues around education. Yes, it's a populist budget. There's a lot of tax ops for the middle class. I'm not sure the middle class needed more tax. I'm not sure we needed more tax ops for people who own two homes, for instance. I think for the farmers, yes, something was necessary. We expected that to happen, and that has happened. Pensions, by the way, for the unemployed, self-organized, actually, that's a good idea. I think those people remain unprotected way too long into their older age. They need that kind of protection. I don't think that's a bad idea. But we haven't addressed the elephant in the room at all around why isn't more investment happening and how do we help create more jobs.
Mr. Bhasin, speaking about the jobs aspect that you were just speaking about, we did raise that question with government voices who will be joining us through the day, and also Niti CEO Amitabh Kant in the afternoon as well. He said, it was more creating a favorable environment for investment and for economic growth rather than jobs rhetoric. He said if you're spurring growth in the measures that the government has implemented this year through the budget and in previous years, it will lead to jobs in due course of time. So that was his response to this particular aspect. Did that cut ice with you, or would you have wanted specifics in the union budget?
We need specifics. I do love Amitabh. He's a great guy, and we have frequent dialogues. But we need more specifics. Ease of doing business in global rankings, we have improved substantially. But at the ground level, most people in industry would say that things are becoming that much easier. The startup world, look at what the tax regime is doing to the startup world with angel taxes, all kinds of taxes. Entrepreneurship, what are the rules that are making it easier for entrepreneurs to behave? I hope one day GST works far more smoothly. I appreciate when you put in huge reform like GST, it will be bound to have its issues, and this one did.
Okay.
But I'm not sure we've got the revenues from it. I wonder what we can do to improve tax compliance. One of my issues always has been, I'm a huge taxpayer in the country. The taxpayers who pay taxes seem to get targeted more than the people who don't pay any taxes and don't even show up on the radar screen. When will that happen? When will some of those things happen?
No, that's an important point. Just stay with us, Mr. Bhasin. I want to come to you on that particular point on the middle class. Getting a SOP in the form of a tax exemption, and also, of course, on the rural economy, getting cash transfers, etc., increasing, but rather cash transfers, of course, decreasing. But I want to quickly also bring in some viewers here. We are opening this out to our viewers as well to have their say on this big story, on their views on the budget 2019. Our phone lines, of course, are flashing down your screens. You can continue to call in. First viewer joining us from Delhi, HS Hampal, calling in. Go ahead, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yes, my name is Abbal. I'm a retired bureaucrat. I retired long time ago. I'm a very senior citizen. I'm 86-year-old. And, they have announced this exemption of 5 lakhs for all taxpayers. I don't understand what they have done for the people like my category. Because they have not spoken anything about that category, because I am already having an exemption up to 5 lakhs. And I just wanted to know as to what exactly is the position of people like us who are at the end of the tunnel, and we are not getting any relief.
Okay, that's an important point that you're raising, that there wasn't anything specific for senior citizens is what you're saying. The relief already was offered to you in terms of the exemption limit. Fair enough, sir. Thank you for calling in. Other viewers also can continue to call in. Before I go back to Mr. Bhasin, I also want to get an international perspective coming in from, our colleague joining us on the broadcast from Germany. We have Malte Rohover-Kalman of DW joining us live in the broadcast. Appreciate you speaking with us today, Malte, on a day when we are discussing the Indian economy. It was the union budget which was presented earlier today by the interim finance last budget of the incumbent government before they face the electorate later this year. Speaking about economies, how closely are the Indian and German economies? Malte.
Yeah. So India and Germany have actually been trading for hundreds of years, but trade didn't really kick off until 1991 when it opened up its economy to the world market. And since then we've seen quite a big growth in trade, from about 2 billion euros a year back then in 1991 to now about 19 billion euros a year. That said, it sounds like a lot, but it still only makes up about 1% of all German trade. So while it's growing fast and it's developing quite quickly, but there's still room for more trade here.
And what specifically are India and Germany trading? What is this trade? What are the aspects that our trade involves? Which are the commodities particularly that we're trading?
So if you look at